welcome to episode 125. So last week you saw me finally get that gearbox working how I want. It was frustrating because the car, you put your foot down hard and it would change at 4,000 RPM, which just doesn't sort of develop much power there. After last week's wrangling with the gearbox, I've got it changing at 5,100, which is ample. If I want to go higher, I can always leave it, manually select the gears and, you know, all good. But that is absolutely fine, pleased with that. Now, I think I've been winging it too long with the old parts. You know, I've used the old wiring loom, the old coil. Most of the stuff is original on my car, and I think that's now tripped me up because now the car won't start. And I don't know whether it's something I did last week, where I've knocked something, broken something or whatever, or what happened about 2 weeks ago where I found I'd left the ignition turned on, came back in the garage a few hours later and it smelled burning and the ballast resistor and the coil were super hot. So I don't know whether I've damaged something during that or from just playing around with the engine in general, but it won't start. Turn the ignition on, it turns over, I can hear the pump running, so I know something's going on, but it isn't starting. So I'm going to be zooming in pretty much to this sort of area fairly quickly. And I want to get the car out there. We're in the summer now and it's nice. I want to be out there driving it, so it's quite frustrating. So join me this week and we're going to try and get the car running again. As I say every week, like, subscribing and comment. Comments I love. Ask me questions, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Subscribe. I'm at 2,500 subscriptions now. We're on the journey to 3,000, I can feel it, and it's taken a long time to get here, but with your help I can get there. So click the subscribe button. You don't have to go back and watch all of the videos behind, you just have to stay subscribed. And click like. Like helps YouTube sort of see the videos popular, throws it up the top of the searches, and more people watch it. Anyway, let's get in there this week and see if we can get this girl running. Right, let's start with the most basic test and take out spark plug 1, and we'll see if there's a spark there. Plugs look pretty good. Obviously that won't focus, but it's not all coked up or anything. It looks pretty tidy. You probably won't be able to see this, but I can, which is the main problem. The main thing, I suppose, here. Right, no spark at all. So no spark here at all, so we can pop that back in, I think. Or maybe I'll leave that out while we're chasing it and I can always confirm that it's coming here at the end. So the next place to check is the feed coming from the starter terminal. Comes all the way through the wiring loom in here and then straight into the first ballast resistor. So I'm going to disconnect it from the ballast resistor and confirm that we have sort of battery voltage, roughly about 12 volts. Off the top here, make it a little bit easier to work on. It's probably dropped down on the floor. So let's test the voltage there. So I've got this meter, I'm earthing on the side of the distributor, which looks pretty good, and connected onto that wire, and we're getting 10.7 volts. Now if I test that across to the jump post, 11. So I'm dropping a tiny bit. What was I getting here? 10.74 versus 11.04. So it's dropping a tiny little bit, but probably close enough. I'm not sure why that should drop so much. Maybe it's just not very good. Very clean connection here. I guess resistance in the wiring loom, but that's not looking that bad. Right, so this is with the top ballast resistor jumped. I'll turn it over and just see if it fires. Let's check there's no tools. I think we're okay. I always worry about something being in with the fan, but I think we're okay. Nope, nothing there. Let's try jumping the bottom one out of those two. And in there, easy. And it might have just been the problem that I disconnected the the resistor while I was checking what the values were. You know, when you kind of expect it to work and it's not working, it makes you wonder a little bit. I think we're all connected up. Yeah. Let's try one more time. Well, I had kind of hoped that jumping that ballast resist would solve it, but it's not, so I need to look elsewhere. I know I poked around on the 14-pin connector, so I think I'm going to go back over there and just trace some of the wires back. There's always the green wire to look at, although I'm still dubious with the voltage I'm seeing on the coil. It just seems a bit low. I'll look up what it should be, but that does seem a bit low. Right, sort of on further inspection, I'm very dubious of the wiring here. So what I'm going to do on this piece of paper, I'm going to draw it and actually wire it out so I can see what goes where. Right, what I'm going to do then is go and just double check that against the wiring diagram, because I think there's an extra wire on here that I shouldn't have. Which is now measuring the resistance across that top resistor, I'm getting 1.2 ohms. Yeah, pretty consistent. I think that's quite a fair bit out of spec. I think there should be 0.4 and 0.6, I think. I'll double check, but I think it's around that. The bottom one I'll test in a little while when I can get down to it. I think it's done up at the moment. But we'll just double check that. But I think these two resistors, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a fair bit out of spec. It looks like someone did a little bit of home modifying down here, and they spliced the ignition coil wire to put in a spur that goes straight to the ballast resistors. I mean, technically I think it's right, and they're just replacing a wire that's in the wiring loom, but I'm going to try to take it out on the hope that it all performs a little bit better and a little bit cleaner, which at the moment it's hard to see exactly what does what. I think I'm almost there, but I'm going to basically solder these two back together. Just put one of those sort of shrink wrap things on it. But yeah, if I can solder that in situ, I don't have to actually undo it off the coil as well. And if it turns out I do need this additional wire, I'll actually attach it to the coil, which is just a better way of doing things. I think that all makes sense. Right, as ever, the battery went flat in my camera, so I finally got it soldered. I'm just going to put these sort of shrink wrap things on it without burning my hands or it. That's actually the first one I've ever done of those. I bought the kit a little while back and never actually got around to using it. But that looks pretty good. Quite pleased with that. So I'll reattach that back on the car onto the coil there. I've just noticed that, what is that, fuse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is completely shot. Now it doesn't seem that it does anything to do with the ignition, but I'm going to swap it out and quickly see. It seems really strange I'm not getting any spark, and perhaps that's the reason. Right, fuse swapped. Let's try and see if we can get a spark there. I can't actually see that, so I'm filming it and you'll have to tell me in a minute. Let me move it so I can see it. That's not such a good idea. Nope, no spark. No spark. Right, I think we got to the time in the evening where it's time I tested that green wire. So I'm just looking how I do it again. I think I need to take the distributor cap off, so let's get that off. So I want to look at the rotor. There's a lot of dust in here. It looks okay, doesn't it? It's wearing, but it is okay. Everything else in there looks good. So I'll put it back in. It's quite a bit of orange dust, which is why I wanted to sort of go a little bit deeper. Take this off, you can see. So there's the cap. Lazy on the focus there. You can see there's quite a bit of orange dust on it. I wonder where that came from. So it's clearly cutting its way through this slowly. Let's give it a clean. So now it's clean when I go back, when it goes back on. There we go. And the contacts in there, all present and correct. Clean, look good. Alright, so that's fine. Now I can hopefully get around there and get that. There's a retaining screw. I think I have to go around the other side. Okay, finally managed to get that wire out. Sorry, the screw out. And now we get the green wire out. There it is. Wow, in all its beauty and expense. So that's one end disconnected. Let's get the other side disconnected and I can test continuity. And this is the other side of the coin. Let's just see how it disconnects from this. Sure, actually mine's taped up, which doesn't give a lot of confidence. There's a metal connection there that I should have undone. Mayday. Oh, that's it apart. Was it not supposed to come apart like that? I don't think. But I can see where it's obviously broken in the past. And some sort of bodged it back together. Let's do a test on it then. Right, continuity we're doing. So I'm testing one wire, now I'm testing the other wire to see whether it's sort of cross-polluting. It doesn't seem to. That one checks out okay. And let's try the other one. Should be beep and no beep. So, I know it's not the most robust test in the world, but that does test out okay. I'm going to try and take it apart properly and have a look and see if we can recover it. But that quite probably needs a new green wire on there. I was going to say one of the weak spots, but another weak spot of my car is the 14 pin connector. You can see someone sort of stuck it together with this, I don't know what it is. And I found, if you go back, I don't know, probably go back 50-60 videos, you find that I found that two of the pins are actually swapped around the wrong way, and corrected that, and that allowed the car, can't remember what that actually changed, whether it allowed it to start or something, I can't remember. Anyway, what I want to do today is just take this apart. I'm just seeing where it pries apart. It's down here, isn't it? I want to take it apart and just inspect and make sure that it's all good and give it a bit of a clean out. I should go and disconnect the battery really before waggling a metal screwdriver in there, but it's apart now, so we're good. So the bottom end, this end is the one that I actually switched out some parts, some of the pins. The top side is, as I sort of set in this resin and relatively solid. I think I'll pop them to disconnect the battery. I'm going to undo that so this can come out, and it means I can sort of bend it away, and we'll clean it out and sort of scrub it with some electrical contact cleaner. I think I'll try and put a piece of cardboard underneath, kind of. I just don't really want to spray this stuff everywhere. Well, I do want to spray it everywhere, but not over everything else. Let's give it a bit of that. I'm not sure how this stuff works, whether it eats up dirt or deoxidizes metal. Probably deoxidizes metal, I guess. Right, so that's given a bit of a scrubbing. They're actually really shiny now. I can't do much with these pins because they are set in that resin, but the other side I can inspect and just make sure that all the connections are looking good. Just really that surface there. Right, let's pretend that's okay. So that can come out the way now. And we're back down to this little boy. Like I said, I think I will quickly whip this off because then I can actually, unless I can get it out now, I can just do it now. I can bend that out. You can see the glory of this thing. So there's that pin's obviously falling out now. But from memory, some of the soldering on the back side of that was a little bit ropey as well. Let's give it a little spray while we're stood here. Right, that'll do. Can't obviously get inside it very much, but we'll have a look at that in a minute. I'll get a little something that we can sort of sandpaper the things out with. I actually bought a load of gold connectors that actually are the exactly same size as these, so if any of them need replacing I can do that. And I actually have the correct casing for this. I wonder if it's time to sort of click it on. It clicks around it really neatly. Yeah, sure, they need tidying up, but they're the casing that you go around it. I assume they go either side of it like that and click in. Just make sure they're not the same part. I don't think they are. They look very similar, don't they? But I believe it's the lid and the base. Alright, and there's the back side of my 14 pin. It's pretty shaky really, isn't it? What I'll do is I'm going to systematically work through each one and just make sure they're all secure. Any that aren't, I'll solder. I was going to give them a little prod on camera in case any pop off, so you can see which ones are bad, but it clearly needs a little bit of work, and I'll try and suss out whether these sort of click on somehow. I don't know, clicks on the bottom or something, but that will just hold it a little bit more securely. Right. Okay, so I'm hoping I can solder this in place. I need to use a flame because my soldering iron won't put enough heat in, and I'm really hoping I can get enough in there without melting all the wires and everything. It seems to be working. Very delicately just warming it up. Looks like we're okay. Right, let's have a look how that's done. So I'm trying not to burn the wire, but blob enough solder in that it holds it. I think we're probably good, aren't we? Yeah, that's looking pretty decent. I'm going to inspect the other one now and just check how that is. But hopefully that's all I need to do. Right, I've reworked the 14 pin connector. I'm not expecting it to start. I'm just going to turn it over. I can see the spark plug here. I've got a voltmeter on the coil. I just want to see whether that was causing any bad connections. So let's flip it over and see what it does. So I can see it a little bit better. Right, no real change there at all. So I'll just pop it on the other side of the coil. That was 2 volts on the one connector. This is on the 15 now, so I'm expecting about 8 volts, 8 or 9. 4, 5. And still no spark. So no good really. I'll have to check whether that was 5 before. Actually, it could have been. No worse though. That's the good part. No worse, but definitely no better. Oh dear. And I'll have a green wire coming shortly. I've got the 2 ballast fuses should arrive tomorrow, so I can try them tomorrow night. Yeah, we'll get there slowly. I'm holding off on ordering a new ignition coil until I first try the 2 ballast resistors, then we'll try a new green wire, then I'll try a new ignition coil. I think that slowly steps through everything it could be or should be, and we'll just see what it's doing. What a pain, huh? What a pain. Just been looking at the parts diagram and the current flow diagram, trying to work out which way round these resistors go, and I can't find out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off. I don't know if it's a nut or where is it? I'm going to take them off. Is it? So let's take the bottom one out. All the wires mixed up. So I very usefully painted that in black, covered any form of numbering or anything on it. I'm going to show me much. 2. So we don't know who that is, but it's wrong. Got my my diagram. Right then, so this is the connector on the back side of the ignition module. I'm just trying to work out how to get it unplugged. I don't really want to yank it particularly hard. I think it just peels off, doesn't it? Try. Could really do with a screwdriver. An awkward place that I can't really get one easily. Now we can see what we've got. This is a little connector, so I think that just pulls out, doesn't it? Yep. Okay, connector out. So what I'll do with that is I'll clean it up with electrical cleaner anyway, but that's going to offer me the chance to test this wire. Clearly goes from this side of the wiring loom across to those 2 ballast resistors. I just don't know which one. Do you know? Oh no, okay, I don't know what pin it is in there. I was going to quickly test it now. I'll go look it up on the wiring diagram and just double check, but it should be pretty straightforward to work out. Right, very handily these fuses actually have the numbers printed on. So the blue one, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got stamped 0.4 and the silver's got 0.6. So they go up like that, and I've just been checking out the wiring diagram. I really don't need this extra wire. God knows why they put it on there. And it is exactly how it was, so that's really straightforward. So I should be able to just put it all back together as it was. And it's whether I can do it without dropping all over the floor, isn't it? I think this is what we tune in for. Right, I've soldered those up, new connectors on a couple of them, and I am going to bolt them up now, which is probably the most interesting part I can show you about these ballast resistors. Me sticking a bolt in. There you go. Check them all wired up neatly. Good. Right, I think everything's connected back up. I've got the new ballast resistors in. I've got the connector back on the ignition module all cleaned up. 14 pin connector all cleaned up. I believe I've sorted out a wiring problem over there, which is cool. Let's try it, see what it does. Right, this is it. I think I've put everything back together. We saw a spark. Fuel relay. Right, this is it. I've got everything back together. I've just put the fuel pump relay in because of course I forgot. I'm going to turn the key. Let's see if it starts. Remember, my car always takes 2 turns of the key, so don't panic if it doesn't start. Fuel pump prime. Woo! That was on first turn as well. I must say, I wasn't expecting it to start like that. I thought it was going to be a real slog trying to get it to go. I'm going to open the garage doors. Shows you I wasn't expecting it to start. And I'm going to run it up for a little while and just make sure everything's alright. The nice thing here is, okay, I've got 2 new ballast resistors, which is probably the fix. Is that I've undone a wire that was bodged in around my ballast resistors, which kind of shows that things are a little bit funky down there. So that's good. The green wire, you saw me sort of shred that earlier. I need to replace that urgent, so I'm going to get a new one of those. I'll actually buy from Porsche because they're the same price, apart from you don't pay delivery. And we've cleaned out the 14 pin connector again, which looks really good in there now. I'm quite happy with that. Let's get the car. Let's get the garage doors open and get the car on again. I'm going to give you a shot from round the back, I think, maybe. Right, first drive after fixing it. Starts really good. Really pleased with how it starts now. It always niggled me that I had to do these 2 turns of the key. And some people have said, well, that's just how they are. Some people have said that mine does the same. A couple of friends with 9 to 8 said that theirs are on the button, you know, turn it and it starts. This starts flawlessly now. So really pleased with that. That's a good piece of work. And of course, it's now running again, which is a big improvement over about a week ago where it wouldn't even fire. There was nothing at all. So really pleased to sort that. A relatively economical fix as well. I think I paid £31 each for those 2 ballast resistors. It's pretty good, pretty good. They were going to go sooner or later, so you could just have narrowed it down and changed them out. Really pleased. Half of me still wonders whether I found the problem or moved the problem. Let me just put it here. Yeah, half of me wonders whether I've actually fixed the proper problem or whether me poking around in the wires has sort of, you know, moved a bit. Maybe it is the green wire that was playing up, and maybe me pulling it around or whatever has sort of freed it. Same with the 14 pin connector. Maybe it was in there somewhere and I've sort of adjusted it. I don't know at the moment. I've still got one problem to track down, which is to do the brakes. Occasionally I turn the key and there's nothing at all, and I have to press and release the brake pedal before it will start. And I also noticed it blows the fuse quite often as well on the brakes. I think usually part of that process. So if you've got any ideas what that will be, comments please. I suspect that I think there's 2 pressure sensors on the master cylinder, and I suspect one of those, the wires are sort of almost touching, and occasionally they touch. So that's where I'm going to be looking first. But please leave comments, shout, let me know what you think about that one. Other than that, the car's working again. We can get back to doing other things. I'm part way through restoring the blower. I want to get that sorted, get that back in. That'll be really good. But we're inching ever closer to the respray, the infamous respray. And very soon there's going to be the debate about what colour I go for. An even bigger debate, should I remove the engine again? Does that engine need to come out to get resprayed? Is that okay? Should I, shouldn't I? At the time I sprayed all the interior of the engine bay mocha brown, mocha black or whatever you call it, thinking I was going to go back to the original colour, but now I'm wondering whether that is a good idea. Do I want, and it's probably a car I'm going to keep forever, but do I want a mocha brown 928? It isn't a colour that I feel really passionate about. I love retro colours. Maybe that's slightly too retro for me. But I'll open it up and we'll do a bit of a poll and see what you guys think. Anyway, let's wrap up there. Thank you so much for watching as ever. Like, subscribe, do subscribe, that really does help. And I'm almost at 2,500. I feel like this video we could get there. If we try hard, I'm pretty sure we'll get there. The likes help YouTube do its thing on the algorithm. And the comments keep me amused, so please leave me some comments. And I will see you next time.